if anyone's insecure or others' success or potential is threatening to their self-esteem, this is not the video for you. And I would argue majority of my content isn't either. Not trying to inflame anything, not trying to incite people, but it's just the reality. I'm here not to boast in any way. It's not what I'm interested in. I don't seek revenge on people. So other people's success or lack of has no bearing on my life. So I come from a place of maturity where I'm looking to grow at every opportunity, and I'm always seeking to fulfill potential. And I hope to inspire other people. And when other people are successful, I don't see it as, a reflection of my lack of growth or success in myself. I just see it as a chance to see other people being successful. It's motivation. It's inspiring. It really reveals to us that some people do win. I think that's a beautiful thing. If all we ever witnessed was suffering, loss, and we never saw progress in a positive direction, then how would we be inspired to have something better? It would seem impossible, implausible. So, like I say, when I talk, it's never from a place of trying to empower myself, embolden myself. I don't need that shit. I already feel confident in myself. I don't need the exterior to reflect that. I don't need other people to perceive it with me. I know my potential. I live in it. Of course, I want the outside to reflect it for my own sake. And of course, the things I do, I want to help people. And when it doesn't reach the people I think it could help, it's deeply frustrating for me. And, it's hard to say things without it seeming like I'm inflating myself over here. But I know the work I've done. And I know so many people are lost, are miserable. Some people even take their lives. It's like, that's a life that could be saved. That's a life that could have been saved. Not everyone can. Not everyone can. But I think so many could. And it's just like, if they just seen what I'm doing or read one of my books, it's like, I know it would have helped. But they never did. And it's not their fault. No one can see them for some reason, That's where I wanted to get to with this video. I've already established if, people are insecure and other people are, it's like a weakness there where if someone's perceived to be strong, it hurts their illusion, their ego's inflated. So they get reactive and they start ridiculing and trying to be hurtful and hateful. It's like, when people do that though, it doesn't stick to me. So when someone says something bad or they have bad intentions, it really doesn't bother me in the slightest. Like, it's just nothing. All it does is reveal their character, their flawed character that needs to be healed and worked on. Because if you've got a vent in such a negative way, then it shows something flawed within their psyche, doesn't it? There's some sort of trauma response. Because happy people, why would a happy person go around wasting their time trying to ruin other people's lives? It would make no sense. Happy people establish themselves. Happy people enjoying what they're building and they're continuing to build upon it. So, I'm not going to go all psychological here at the minute. Well, maybe we do later, who knows? But I always end every video I do with the understanding that people are going to be offended. Someone's going to take exception. Someone's not going to like me because I've said something, or they don't like the way I perceive myself. They don't like my confidence. That's arrogance. I always think people see arrogance, and I don't know if they do, but I always think they do. And it's always because, it's almost like we're only as strong as our weakest link. And I always think of the weakest person that's going to watch my content. I'm not saying they're beneath me. It's just they're weaker in that moment. They've got a lot of work to do to balance themselves. Everything's in layers. So I always think of the person who's going to be most offended by my content, and I hone in on that. And it's just, it's me sitting there saying I'm going to do this, and me saying I've just achieved that, and I've just accomplished this, and just finished that project, and I did it ahead of time. Me saying all these things. Someone that's doing nothing with their lives and they're stagnating, and they will just want to bring people down. So I always know that sort of person is going to be triggered to shit. So then I'm going to say, I think I'm being perceived as arrogant. I'm sure I am, because that person naturally would. It's all they're going to see. Because you can't be confident around some people that are vulnerable like that, people that are just insecure. Confidence around insecure people, what's that? That's their freaking kryptonite. It's an absolute nightmare for them. You're revealing something to them they just don't have. So they're going to want to bring that down a peg or two, So we've established that. Probably a bit of a rant, but goddamn, that's where I always feel I'm coming from, a place of defense. I would love to have an audience where everybody just gets each other and we know we're all aligned. Like, I'm spiritual, they're spiritual. I'm intelligent, they're intelligent. They've healed. I've healed. Let's do this shit. Let's have a deep conversation on life and things, you know. And you don't have to keep worrying and keep stepping back and saying, "I hope you don't see me this way." It's just that's misleading the message. Tiptoeing around shit drives me nuts. To be totally honest, it'd be nice to just be able to be frank and just be honest, you know. Literally have a conversation without having to keep stumbling backwards. So what we're going to do right now is exactly that, because I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick and tired of having to worry about someone else that really needs a bit of a pep talk in this direction. And it's like, I want to help people, but it's like I can't keep holding myself chained back to do it. So at this point, if I'm arrogant in any way, so be it. That shit's gonna have to just stick. It's just gonna have to. I can't keep dimming shit because it just stops the message, you know. So I've done 7 books. This has been a huge section of my life, and it's often said overnight successes are rarely overnight. It's been time consuming. It's dedication. It's consistency. So, A Father's Daughter, my very first book, was 2019. So I was writing that very end of 2018 and putting it together. So to put it into practicality, I had the separation from my daughter in 2017, April. And it's a few days for her birthday. Her mum made a drastic decision that changed our lives and a different course forever. That was 2017. I'm running around like a headless chicken, trying to put the pieces together, trying to re-establish contact with my daughter, obviously through her mum. And it was traumatizing. Like, I know what it's like to feel like, and when I say this, I sometimes might say it and it might not seem impactful. But understand, I know what it's like to feel like your entire life has been taken away from you. Now, it's hard for me to express it here now because you can see, like, I'm not like that now. Back then, 2017, in April, I was a shell of myself. I wasn't this version that exists today. I was in tears. I'm not someone that's that emotional, especially in front of strangers. I can be vulnerable with people I care about, you know, but around strangers, never. That wasn't me. And yet, in front of strangers, I was breaking down in tears. So that's an immense vulnerability. You know, I think to get to that point where you're that vulnerable is crazy. I've always got this burning fire in me where even at the lowest point, I'm not trying to posture as anything. It's just who I am. It doesn't extinguish. It never would. So when it's really hard to put into words, and I'm not someone who usually struggles with words. If I didn't look, I know how bad it was. And if I didn't have that flame in me that doesn't get put out, I could have been a casualty of one of those that takes their life. It's because that's how much I was suffering. I was suffering to the same extent that those that do take their life. And I'm not trying to say I'm better than anyone else. It's just it's just something in me that just does not give up. But I still feel the same pain they did. You know, I was struggling to get out of bed. I was struggling to do anything. It's just life had lost meaning. It's like I felt like it wasn't just the loss of my daughter, because that's the thing people will hone in on. I had my ex-partner. We had the dogs. We had her daughter, so I had a stepdaughter. No one talks about that when you lose a stepchild, and you're supposed to take them in as your own child. You treat them exactly the same way, and then they take them away from you. They can create any false narrative they want, but they were a huge part of my life. Like, it was a family dynamic. Literally, it wasn't just like 2 of us. It was like 3 of us. 4, really. So it's 3 of them plus me, so 4. And then we've got the dogs as well, so we've got pets. That was home. That was everything I was trying to build for my life. And it was, yeah, there was things frustrating. Like, finances were always hard. I was deeply frustrated because I haven't put my life. I don't want to make this too deep here, but I think it's really important for transparency. My ex-partner was a very vulnerable person mentally. I don't want to talk about it too much because we moved on from all this, and it's just, there's something I don't want to go near. But I just want to lead up to that, is that my life was on hold to a very serious extent, but having a family was my everything. So if you put, in terms of goals at that point of my life, and I'd still say potentially still now, but I understand what I'm doing, I think helps people, and I think that goes up. Now it supersedes my life. I don't think people will understand that either. They probably, again, you might see arrogant, egotistical. I don't know if people really do see that or not. And I talk about success in the future. I talk about these things because I crave something for myself. I not validation. I just want it to be worth something. You know, I did this and it meant something, not for me, but for others as well. But yeah, I want something. My life's been a struggle forever. I'm 43. I don't think I've ever experienced not struggling. I want something nice for me now. Like, do you know what I mean? I want something. I want to be happy. And I always say it, I just want to be happy. I don't say to the universe, I want to be wealthy. All I ever say to the universe is, I want to be happy, man. Just let me be happy. That's all I ever ask for. I'm trying to get emotional. So all I've ever known is suffering. Even every book I've done has been in turmoil. I haven't really had peace. It's not something I've got to experience by myself. I'm always having to fight one fire after another. But again, like I said, that flame is not extinguished. So rather than ending my life, I just rose like a phoenix. I don't know, it might sound a bit cliche and things and corny, but literally, it just engulfed me. It's like instead of going down, I just blew up in a positive way. Instead of keeping myself low, I just decided, you know what? This isn't helping me, and this isn't helping my daughter. She deserves the best version of me, and I owe it to me to be the best version of me. So I don't care what storyline is getting written by other people, and I don't care what plan they have in store for my life or our daughter's life. I'm going to make sure our life is beautiful, and I'm not giving up on either of us. And that's when I just went hell for leather. You know, my mind was still drained, but I was putting the pieces together. My mind was like a human lie detector, calculator, whatever you want. I was like a detective. I'm piecing everything together. Like, why did she leave? Where has she gone? When did she set this up? What was the plan? What's the outcome? What's she going to accuse me of to get that? Because the only way you're going to get anywhere with this, even if you do custody, is to prove I'm unfit. We had a conversation days before where we said having conversations about this sort of thing, but it didn't look like it was happening anytime soon in terms of get like an actual separation. And she's literally said to me, to my face, "You're a great dad." And it's like, to go from a great dad to be spiteful and accuse me of all sorts of shit, you know? Try and keep us separated. Try and make it that because I fought through tooth and nail. I took them to court. I'm the one that instigated it. I'm the one that had to travel to keep doing these things. And it was their suggestion that we now have contact sessions, which would have cost about £250 per session in a supervised room, like we're criminals. What? You know, and that's what I'm saying. So even when I started fighting back, there was still obstacle, you know. I'm not going to go too deep into that because this isn't what the video was supposed to be about. But maybe it's important to start off from where we've been. And the reality is, that's heavy, man. But that was only the weird part. If you put it down to chapters of a story, and you think of your life in the way of chapters, that was the most traumatic period of my life. But a couple of years before that was very close to. That's the part that gets missed because we focus so much on like the catalyst, the upheaval, the change, the ending of a chapter. That was the end of a chapter. All their moments after family court and things, that was like that chapter closing as we begin a new cycle for my life. But think how much has to happen throughout that chapter though. We was in a relationship for like 8 years. And in 2015, we was evicted at the beginning, I think it's January, because a landlord wanted to sell the property, and it took him about a year or so, maybe 2 years, because I was fighting for court for it. You know, my ex is someone who I don't want to peak negative at people. I'm sick of that shit, you know. But she's not as resilient, so she's more likely to cave to pressure. And I'm like, no. They have to go a process here. We're not just going to be on the streets. So we'll fight this, and we had to go court in a courtroom and things, and delaying it as much as we can, because it's our own survival here. But she was struggling, and I don't want to dig it. I don't want it to seem like I'm digging here, but it's just an honest observation here. Like she had to go sessions, she had to attend places, and I don't want to go deeper than that. Anyone that suffered or supported, either suffered on that side of it, or you've supported someone on that side of it who is, to keep it as simple as possible, a danger to themselves. I'm not going deeper than that. It's personal to them. I'm not here to sort of like inflame shit. But when you live with it, and you've got the weight of everybody else on your shoulders, you want to make sure the kids are provided for. You want to make sure they're protected in a way, like not from their mum. I was never worried in that sense, but more like you don't want them aware of it. You know, you don't want them traumatized. So I did everything I can to shield them while still protecting them and making sure that, not hurting themselves. It was like running around like a headless chicken. I was just exhausted all the time. My chest was hurting. I was literally getting home, laying on the bed, and my chest was in pain. I felt, in all honesty, I'm not exaggerating. I actually felt like I was dying. I felt like my my mind was trying to keep everything going, but my body was struggling to keep up with what my mind was doing. Like, I'm resilient, so I could just go through wall after wall after wall, but your body can only take so much stress. And I think that's what was doing me, and I think the stress was doing me so much. So like I say, when they left and all the other shit, because it affected my daughter, and it's not something I'd ever wished for her life, you know, and I never expected her to be torn away from me. That's obviously the hardest trauma, but it doesn't mean there wasn't trauma that occurred before it. Again, I don't want to go too deep because it wasn't supposed to be about all this, but I think maybe starting there is important. Maybe. But anyway, I'm not going to go for this. I don't know. I don't want to keep going into these deep things, to be honest. But then I had my spiritual breakthrough in 2020, which was huge. It set me on a path for answers and understanding the deeper aspects of life. And I'm not, again, like I said earlier, if people are not on my wavelength, this isn't for them. It's easy to pick apart and start trying to ridicule because you don't understand. But it's not for me I'm not interested in educating people that don't want to understand. It's like, I couldn't give a shit how other people live. Like, if someone wants to improve their life, then by all means, I've provided the tools to do it. If someone wants to be intent on just wasting their life, trying to ridicule other people, trying to just validate their existence in the meaningless way that it is, if that's how path they've chose, then by all means, go down that path. It doesn't change my direction. You know, I've got a lot of family members. I don't want to lose track, though. My family members are a mess, to be honest. I've set boundaries with all of them. I just don't care anymore. Like, some have health problems. They don't take it serious. I'm sure when it is very serious, they probably will take it serious, or they'll be regretful. I don't want to talk about people's personal circumstances, but I just look and I think, like, I have sympathy for people who are innocent, people that are pure, people that are kind. I don't have sympathy for people who abuse themselves. It's like up to people to ignite that fire in themselves. Like, I've been through my own worst nightmares. You know, I don't compare my nightmares to other people's nightmares, and I don't try and say that I'm better than anyone else. It's just I'm more resilient in a given situation than the average person. But it's up to people to ignite the flame in themselves. You can't do it for them. So when I've got self-defeating family members who make excuses for lesser things than I've been through, it's like, that's not my problem to carry. It's like, you're going to have to get on with your own life now. I've set boundaries with all of them. I only talk to my mum now, like literally my mum and my daughter. And I've got quite a big family. But I've cut them all off, and I don't care how that makes me look. I've wasted too long with these people. They've never supported me, purely. It's always with an underlying intention. And I'm not going to go into that either. But I've been watching and watching and watching. And believe me, I gave some longer than others because I wanted to give them benefit of the doubt. And then it's like, enough time's been. So I'm done. So that's where the boundary is set now. So this year, that's it. Cut them off. And I don't feel bad about it. It's like, I'm done. I've got my own life to live, man. I haven't got time to have people keep trying to drag me down with nonsense. If they healed, they'd grown, they'd been on a similar path as me, would have all benefited together, but I'm not doing it. So anyway, the spiritual path 2020, it's put me on it's really hard to explain it, really, because I can understand life in a way that I think the average person doesn't understand life. And that's not me trying to posture above. It's just, I've had my experiences. I have an inner knowing. I have all these things, and they all come true. And it's just, I'm not going to deny that for anything, any aspect of my life, you know. And of course, I've done the personal growth books as well. But I had a little bit of an epiphany, and I was thinking to myself, I get a lot of signs, by the way, so I already know. Well, people might think it's not knowing. Okay, I have an understanding of what my future's leading to, what it will be like, and it doesn't always happen in timeline we want. So it could happen. It could be in 5 years. It could be longer. You know, we all want things now. But I do get a lot of signs that it's imminent, it's not far, because I've done the work. And I said, if anyone followed my journey, I said that spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call, wanted this next book done, the one I've just done. They wanted it done last year, I delayed it, and I kept getting signs, even when I was doing my tarot cards, it always said, your breakthrough is contingent upon this book. You must finish this book. And they was waiting for that book. And I finally did it. And I'd never expect to be successful straight away. It's just it never happens. I do things, I don't really promote very well. I'm not going to go deep into that. But I started thinking today, and I was just having a little epiphany come to my mind. And I just thought, that's interesting, because I've had a few signs here and there, by the way. So it's just reaffirming that, really. If I have a sign of something and it maybe makes sense to me, I might think about it a bit more. It might make sense, and I'll use my cards and all sorts. And I have knowings. Now, people won't understand that part, but Because I know anyone could say you've got no wings and come up with a load of shit, and then it's just shit. But when I say things, it tends to come true. So, which is why I'm doing this video. It's more like a timestamp. Right now, I have no offers from anywhere. People can believe it or not. I have no offers from anywhere. Life's hard. It's absolutely ridiculous. My mum's helped me where she can. Her life's hard now. I can't put pressure on her. It's not fair. I want to, again, I've already said, I only talk to my mum, me, like, and my daughter. I want nice things for my mum. You know, I want to be able to provide for her as well. Like, she's helped me only where she can. I haven't had the luxuries when it's not overhelped. It's like she's helped where she can. So she's helped me in a crisis. Even when there's multiple crises, she's always stood up for me and stepped up, even if it's like hard for her. I don't like that, but my path is not an easy path, and I expect to bless her tenfold. So I want to be able to do that, even if I only get blessed even a little bit. I want to be able to order her shopping and get her stuff delivered, so she never has to worry about the food in the fridge. She's helped me abundantly, like, as best she can. It's been incredible, and I'll never ever like diminish that. That's she's been there when I've needed it. So maybe when people see my journey, they think, "How are you getting by with that? How are you getting by with that?" She helps me where she can, but there's limits. But I intend to bless her way beyond what she's done for me, and that's saying something, because she's been incredible for me. Believe me, I want to take it. I want to pay for her holidays. I want to buy her anything she needs, even though she says she doesn't need anything. I'm like, I want to take care of everything. I just want to be able to bless her, you know, not her feel like she owes me. She's done everything. Just I want her to have freedom in her life and thrive in a beautiful way. So it's not all about me being successful. I want to bless those who I feel deserve to be blessed. And I always said it'll be those closest to me first. So it'll be my daughter and my mum. If I had a load of money, like, and I've already said it to my daughter. If one day a miracle happens in my life, you'll know, because you'll have £1,000 deposited in your bank account. I'll just send £1,000 straight to her. She'd know. That'll be the sign. Like, what? Because that's a huge amount of money to her. It's a big amount of money to me today. But if I had a big opportunity, that's her sign. And that's what I want to do, you know? And I would have helped all my family members had they supported me. They only had to buy my books and just show they give a shit, and maybe just help promote them a little bit. It's not hurting anyone. They didn't even want to do that. So, you know, people are going to consider me spiteful in the future, if, like, it might be if I'm doing well for myself. But it's not. I would have had it wouldn't have bothered me helping people. But it has to be people who deserve it. You know, I'm not an idiot. I'm not letting people take me for granted, or me put the hard work in, then they just reap the reward. It's like, no. So I've had some signs, and I had a little epiphany today, and I was just sitting there thinking, why have the books not sold? Not be funny, you've done 7 books. I know if people had done 1, they would have sold. I know sometimes you don't always, but to do 7 is, I try not to swear, like, in terms of that, it's just a joke, isn't it? That doesn't make sense to me. Bear in mind the signs I've had and the thoughts process. I just thought to myself, I think self-publishing my books was empowering to me. It showed me what I'm capable of. Like, I can do the whole process. I can write, I can edit, I can do the product information page, I can do the publishing, I can do the formatting. You name it, I can do the whole process of it. I'm just not strong at marketing because I hate it. It's not something I can't do. It's something I refuse to do. So if I didn't have morals, I'm not saying people with marketing don't have morals, but so many don't. I'm not someone who would sort of sell my mum for gold, you know, and I'm not someone that would try to gain at someone's expense. I'm not interested in taking someone's money who doesn't want something. So I don't like the idea of marketing. I just want people who are genuinely interested to happen upon my books. And by investing in the book, they're investing in us. Like, I receive, of course I will. But they receive as well. It's not, I don't do GoFundMes, even in a crisis. I don't say, oh, my life's horrible. Please donate me this. Please give me this. Please give me that. I don't do that shit. I just hope one day someone stumbles across my work, they buy my book, and it genuinely helps them. There's no pressure from me. I've not pressured anyone to do that. It's like, that's what I want. I want to know that, yeah, I've benefited, but I'm always curious how that person's getting on with the book. It's not a case of, oh, I've got the money, don't worry about it. I want to know that, I hope they're doing good with it. I hope it's helping. And that's really where I come from, you know? So I thought to myself, I wonder if my books haven't sold because I'm supposed to, at some point, sign a deal with a publisher. The books can be in airports, they can be in bookstores, they can just be everywhere rather than an online platform, store. And you have perhaps a big publisher behind you, which one would then assume you get an upfront fee, because you normally do. You normally get a sign-on fee, like a fee, and then you get a certain amount of. From my understanding, I might be wrong. I haven't got a writing agent, so that would be missed. So a lot of time when you talk to publishers, you go through an agent first. So I don't have that. A lot of time when they do sign-on fees, it's usually when the book's not even finished. Sometimes it's when you're writing a book. If they're really that captivated by what's been written so far, they might invest. But of course, it's an unknown. With my work, the work's already there. There's already 7 books. You're not investing on an idea. You're investing in the finished article, the product. It's already there. So, for instance, someone that's writing a book, maybe you get a publisher on board. They offer you £25,000 sign-on fee, and then you get a certain amount per book. But a lot of the time, you don't start earning the royalties until that upfront sum has been paid off. That's the part I think some people miss, because they're risking to give you the sign-on fee, but they're not stupid enough to give you that for nothing. They want that back, and of course, they're going to get an awful lot off the percentages from the royalties as well. So they're not really losing it. It's like gambling, but really heavily favouring them with a little bit of risk at the beginning. They got so much money, that risk isn't going to be that big a deal to them anyway. I don't want to go in the whole thing's out. Just trying to show my understanding of it as I know it. With what I have already, I would assume if you're going to do a sign-on fee, I'd expect a decent sign-on fee, because the amount of work I've got already done here. I've done the work here, you know. But anything's possible, isn't it? So yeah. But I got my cards out. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share it with people. I was reluctant to do the video, but then I thought, part of me thinks keep it to myself. The other part just thinks it's not showing it in both, because people can put this down as you're just naive and it's stupid and it's never going to happen or something, whatever. But from my point of view, I like to say things before they happen. So at no point has anyone approached me, by the way. The only messages I've had are people that piss me off, to be totally honest. I've already said I don't like marketing. Some people play on that. They'll email me and there'll be things like, we can help you promote your work. We can help you get more views on your YouTube videos. And I've seen your book on Amazon or something, and I can help you get more traction. It's like, times 222 at the moment. I don't know if I can get that up on my phone, because I'm in the 24-hour clock, so it's say 10:22. Let me see if it works. 10:22. So if it weren't 24-hour clock, that'd be 22:22. So on my computer, it's 22:22. Now I've lost track. Shouldn't have done that. I've lost track now. Oh, that's throwing me right off, because I was on a good train of thought. Yeah, marketing. It's quite good how I remember things when I shouldn't, when it goes. But if someone's messaged me about marketing and things, and they always say, like, I've stumbled across this, and in my head I'm thinking, what do I need you for? They prey on stupid people. I don't want to be rude. Let's be. I don't care. There's another way of saying it. There probably is, but I've got the patience right now. But if they say, I've seen your book on Amazon, I can help you get more views. You deserve more eyes on your work. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you've just seen it, so it's obviously working. And it's the same when I see it when people come to me about YouTube. I'm thinking, again, you've seen my video, so it obviously works. So I'm all right, I think. Otherwise, how the hell did you see it? Do you see what I mean? Like, something must be working because you've just seen it. So that's where what they say, it kind of bounces back on themselves. It's like, you've just backfired. Everything you've just said you can do, I've obviously done because you've seen it. So what do I need you for? Plus, I don't trust you, because the amount of people that come at you with these stupid offers. And it's always like, well, I don't have the financial means to invest right now. I'm the one that's already put the work in. You're guaranteed to gain by me paying you money to do whatever you're offering to do. You may or may not provide the service, because you might just be scamming. Even if you're not scamming, it's like, okay, it might help, it might not. But I'm the one that seeks to lose, because I've got nothing. I haven't gained anything yet. It's just more expenditures and things. But yeah, I just started thinking about that. Like, maybe I'm supposed to have a publishing deal. That would change everything quite quick. And I was asking with my cards, which is kind of where I was going, wasn't it? Before I waffled. It's probably not as that clear. Oh, I hate the way iPhones have gone. I don't know if anyone else has got this bloody problem. The way they do the photos now, it's so unmanageable. I can't stand it. They just haven't got a clue. And I asked this: how have my books struggled to sell? I'm going to see if I can get it up on the thing, because I like being transparent. You might not see the writing because it's white. So anyway, have my book struggled to sell because I'm supposed to make a deal with a publisher? And the first card, like when you got yes and no cards, the first card was yes. It shows like communication coming in fast, something happening quick. And then these other cards, these weren't clarification cards, by the way. These just come out after. I just put them underneath because that one was on its own. Then the other cards flew out, and I understood what it was saying. So, unfortunately, I can't do anything about that. This freaking camera, man. I don't think I can do anything. Let me see if I can dim the camera lighting because it's the lighting that's the problem. Okay, anyone knows tarot? I can't really make that any better. I'll just read them out. So we've got the Three of Pentacles, we've got the Five of Cups, the Eight of Cups, and the Ten of Swords. So the first two are obviously, the first one is you're working hard and it feels like you're getting nowhere, which exactly, I've done 7 books, got nowhere. Like, I'm proud of me, but if we're talking about success, the last one's been no more successful than the first one. And the first one hasn't even done what I want it to do. So I feel like every time I do something, I work hard, I achieve something, I'm proud of myself, but it doesn't go beyond that. And then we go and do the next thing, and the cycle repeats. Constant frustration because it's not getting me anywhere. I'm building a legacy, but the legacy isn't sprouting anything, you know? That's what it is. So that's where the Five of Cups comes in. You see the frustration. You've got a head in your hands, you don't know what the hell's going on. And then we've got like the Eight of Cups. It's kind of like you're pursuing your dreams. Like you're a dreamer. You're still doing it. Like you're still investing in your dreams. And then got 10 of Swords. You couldn't have any more swords in you at all. That's literally lifeless. Last night I was getting so fed up. I'm like, this is a joke, mate. Like, I don't want to be negative, but I'm freaking I'm stuck in Groundhog Day over here. This is outrageous. No matter how much I see life, it's still hard at times, you know? Like, I understand that I'm a fast learner. I get things done fast. If we talk about life as checkpoints, I've probably got to my checkpoint before whoever's supposed to be on the next side of that checkpoint. So I see it as like almost like a video game. You know, that when you go through a checkpoint, it might spawn a load of characters. So it's like we've gone there, all of a sudden, the ones that are supposed to go on this next adventure are there with you. I feel like I'm at the checkpoint waiting for whatever the life's supposed to catch up so we can go on to the next part of that checkpoint, go through it, and then whatever's happening, there's a brand new beginning. That's a new experience. I'm waiting around over here. Like, I'm ready. Life is lifing. It just drives me nuts because it's like I can't sit still like this shit. You know, my mind don't work like that. I need to keep moving forward. So I think that's where the Ten of Swords comes in. It's like that. It's just drove you mad. But so anyway, so it's saying how frustrated you are, but there is something happening, you know. So we've got the frustration at the bottom where you still you keep believing, but then we also do have this something's coming in fast, like super fast. So then I said, so what's the first question? Just to make sure it was for clarity. Well, have my books struggled to sell because I'm supposed to make a deal with a publisher? Yeah. So they're saying something's coming fast. So then I say specifically now, because I want to be very specific, we've got to go. Will I get a publishing deal for my books? Could you not? We've literally got the Queen of Wands. So it's that you're attractive, you're magnetic to people, you're charismatic. Someone's definitely inspired here. Someone's definitely drawn to me. But it also shows Nine of Wands. You've got to stand your ground. So it's not accepting just random offers. It's like, know your worth, and it's like you're gonna have to stand your ground. But I mean, the King of Pentacles is incredibly wealthy, stable, wealthy. You're doing great for yourself. So it shows that you've got the tools to do it. Like that, obviously, if we're saying is a yes or no, yes. And then I've got another picture because I turned the back of the deck over after I did that, and I kid you not, it had the Justice on the back of the card, back of the deck, and the back of the deck's all about current energy. So justice is being served in my life. It's about time, you know? And I kid you not, I don't keep saying kid you not, but all day after that, my TikTok channel has just completely been flooded with success that's impending. Your life is going to turn around. You've never experienced it before. It's going to seem surreal. There's going to be people that are jealous, people that don't understand, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to be happy because I want to say it this way as well, why I'm doing this video, because I think it's just important. I'm not someone, and I know it's easy to say it in a moment, but it's just the way I am, you know? I'm not someone where money would change me deeply. Yes, I would want nice things. Yes, I would have a nice experience. It would change me in a positive way because I'm so stuck at the moment. You know, I want life to live, not life to struggle every day. Everybody obviously wants that, but it's important that we build towards it. I feel like I've done the work. I want to be happy. I want some indulgences, of course. But on a fundamental level, I want to be able to just put food in my fridge, man. I just want to be happy. I want to be able to just at least deal with the basics of my life, not have to keep looking left and right and worrying about things and trying to balance different aspects. Right now, I've got to contemplate whether I want to go and work in a warehouse, do warehouse or forklift work, while I try and work on my other projects and creative pursuits, because I'm having to balance so much in my life just to make life work out. I want that sort of security where I don't have to ever look at that direction and I can just focus everything on my creative pursuits. I really just throw myself and say, right, we're doing it, man. That's how I want to feel. And I'd feel so free with it. So if I've got financial resource behind me, I'm not going to get caught up in the financial side of it, because I know that what I did up until that moment is what got that. And if I stop doing what I've done, that will dry up. So it's important to continue upon the same vein at what you was working towards in the first place to make it sustainable and it to thrive. So, and I wouldn't have the time. Like I would want a holiday. I would want some nice things, but it wouldn't be at the expense of what I've got to do next, because I've already got goals in mind, you know? And I think that's where a lot of people turn to. You see it, the actors and musicians, they turn to drugs and alcohol. I mean, drugs and alcohol. They just lose themselves. It's like they get bored and they just go hysterical and crazy. They just can't seem to find sustenance in even just the littlest things in life. So they need stimulants. And then them stimulants end up driving them crazy, and they become so reliant upon them, they can't even function in everyday life. That's not me. I can cope very well isolated on my own. I've never dabbled with drugs, even at lowest level. I've never dabbled with cigarettes or anything like that on any level. I'm not even tempted by that shit, you know? So I wouldn't even go down that path. I'm not an alcohol drinker, really. I don't mind the odd one every now and again when it's summer. Let's say summer, I'd like to just have a beer or something, but I'm not like, I'm one or something. I don't even give a shit. So I'm not an alcohol person either. So I wouldn't be tempted like that in the slightest. And it wouldn't be interesting to me. I prefer nature. I prefer the little things in life. I prefer just living. So yeah, it wouldn't change me in the same way. And I recognise if let's say I had a lot of money, I can understand someone else who maybe knows me would think, oh, you know, I want that, or I'd love to have what you have, and I would do this with it. I would do that. It's like, yeah, because other people would do with things in a neglectful way because they did nothing to get it. It's a free handout to them. They didn't even work for it. You know, you've worked your whole life for it pretty much, you know, because even if you argue the last 8 years or whatever has been me working on books, before that led to me end up writing the books. It was only through the harsh experiences I've had and the things I've tried doing in the interim that ended up enabling me the potential to actually do what I've done. So it's been a whole life experience. It hasn't been just like freaking just for that period, is it? It's been a whole life experience. So, like I said there, if what I've done leads to that, then it's important I continue in that vein. It's not for me to lose sight of everything and just go, oh, look at me, I've got all this money. I don't have to do anything ever again. I can just go and live like a lunatic. That's how you hear people that they be successful and they're forgotten. And it's not just they're forgotten. You watch them later in life, they're really frustrated. Some of them get quite vengeful, like they're really frustrated they didn't have an opportunity, or they didn't take this and they didn't take that, and then they regret, but they wish the other person didn't get what they could have had. And it's just sad. Like, just make the most of the opportunity you have then. Don't waste your life in regret. That's a stupid way to be. It's like I say, people who haven't earned something are quick to waste it because it was free to them, whereas to me it's not. So who I am to acquire that is who I am once I've acquired it. So I'm continuing the same pattern of the way I am, if it makes sense. So someone else isn't nothing. Like, if we're talking about family members, they're nothing like me. They're chaotic as shit. If they, let's say I had a breakthrough and my money was stable, and I'm stable, I'm building upon a positive foundation, I'm doing everything in what I would consider productive. I think it's better for my for your stability, your security going forward. They would just waste it. They wouldn't even care, and they would wonder why I'm not wasting it. And it's like, because we're just different people. You know, the money doesn't define me, and it never will. What I do is far more important. So it's a bit like when I said, like the family. When I had the family life, for me that was my biggest dream, and for a while it was like. Then that's why it destroyed me so much, because everything that I'd put into it almost felt for nothing, and it was just wiped away in an instant, like a car crash. You know, And that's hard to pick yourself up from. How do you replace everyone you loved and go again? Like, it's irreplaceable. It feels irreplaceable in the moment, you know. But now that I've gone on this path with my books, I know it's bigger than me. And I know it's a weird thing to say, but to me it is, and I know it is. Because we're only here for a set period of time. I know people want to make a massive deal out of it, you know, to think, oh yeah, everything I do is gold, and everything I do, you know, the sun comes out my arse. I mean, some people are like that, you know, they just seem to think they're the epicenter of everything. It's like all of our periods are defined, you know, we're not here forever, so you will be forgotten. You know, life will extinguish at some point. So I could sit here and say, having a family was the most important thing for my whole legacy, my whole life. And it's a big part of my life, but I wouldn't say it was my biggest now, because the books will continue past me. They will continue past my daughter. The things I do that I consider a positive contribution towards humanity is bigger than me. It just is. So, like, even if I get frustrated and like life's hard, I'll kick and moan sometimes and I'll get fed up, but I still keep doing it because I think it'd be quite tragic not to, quite personally. You know, you get to the end of life and it's just, you could have done this, you could have done that, because you was frustrated and you resented it, and you didn't think it was fair, you didn't do it. And yet there's people that are maybe frustrated in life, they're lost. You could have helped save a few lives. Oh, shit. Maybe I should have done that. So if we should have done that, maybe just do that. And that's how I work. You know, my mind doesn't work in the same way the average person does, because I think of every potential outcome and I always project myself to the end of life. How would I feel at the end of my life? So if, let's say, my books didn't sell and I just said, you know what, I'm not doing another word. I'm never doing this ever again. I've had enough. And I waste my life, you know, just sitting there dossing about, doing random shit, anything to distract me from what I should be pursuing, because that was my calling in life. And instead of doing that, I'm doing everything I can to really, sometimes like even like some sort of retribution or spiteful act to the universe to say, look, this isn't fair. You didn't want to take care of me. I'm not taking care of you. I could do that. But who's that benefiting? We're just harming ourselves and harming the next generation or whoever the hell was supposed to learn, you know? So, like I say, when I say it's bigger than me, it's because it's bigger than me. It's just, that's just how it is. It's like, I'm not saying it's fair, but it's still bigger than me. Likewise, our children, you know, it's really important that we pass on knowledge and wisdom. And, you know, my daughter's learned a lot from me, and it's for her to process it, because everybody's going to process information differently. Some are going to listen, some won't listen. Some will take on board some things, some will twist the meaning of this and think they're too smart to hear anything. So there's layers. Fortunately, she's very balanced, so she has grown a deep understanding. And it's nice to know that I've enabled a certain platform for her to thrive in her own way as she grows older. Like, for her to experience things as well. And it's for her to, you know, listen to me when she feels it's worth listening, or not when she doesn't want to. So I would never take credit for her. You know, I couldn't do that. I could take credit for raising her and providing guidance and the structure and all these different things. And I know I've had a positive contribution on her character. But ultimately, she's still responsible for her, and her personality is her own. It's not for her to live in my shadow. It's not for me to sort of live through her. So, at the end of the day, what she makes of her life and the choices she has and the interactions, how she deals with things, that's all on her. And, you know, so it's just, I mean, it's good to have people you can be potentially inspired by, people we can learn from. But then it's up to us to put it into practice. And goddamn, she's doing it. She's putting things into practice in an incredibly beautiful way. And she is her own person. So yeah, I would never want that where she's this copy of me. No. She's her. She's absolutely her. And I'm proud of my contribution towards her growth. But yeah, anyway, I probably got distracted there as well. All this to say that, from all intents and purposes, I see potential happening in the future. So now I'm not so dedicated to checking the sales of the books now. See if someone's bought this, someone bought that. It's been dry for a while, but I'm not even bothered now, because as frustrated as I've been, that's because I'm thinking, you know, I should be able to do this on my own. Maybe that's ego running rampant. Maybe that's me. It's because I'm self-sufficient. Maybe there's an aspect of that in life that's useful, but then maybe there's another aspect of life that's really important that we learn to function with other people too, collaborate, share responsibilities, trust people, perhaps even forgive at times as well. But I think there's things we can learn in different circumstances, and maybe being so self-sufficient doesn't serve us in the end. I don't know. There's a lesson for me to learn in this too, and it's about, there's so many layers to this. Not letting people take advantage of us, but it's also kind of sort of trying to see things from different aspects, different sides. So even if you do a deal with someone, you've got to make sure it's right for you, right for them. Is it sustainable? There's so many layers. I'm not really that interested in business side of things, but I'm definitely not interested in just giving away me easily, if you like. So yeah, that's going to be interesting if that happens, of course. But yeah, I just wanted it really put here. It's February 9th, and here I am saying this. If it happens in a week, great. If it happens in a month, great. If it ever happens, that's what I mean. People can only take my word for it. I've not had any messages at all about this. All I've had, my headphones are going funny now. They've just turned off. Trying to reconnect. They just do noise cancelling because I don't like noise around me. But yeah, I've had no interaction with anybody about anything. All I've had is these weirdos that send me messages trying to get me to just make SEO updates on my freaking YouTube videos to get more traction and do something with my books on freaking Amazon or something. I don't really listen to them. But I've not had any things about my books other than that. Bluetooth device 2 connected. And it's still flashing. Okay, it's gone now. It does that sometimes. I think it's because my phone's connected, actually. I know we're deviating, but here we are. It does that when it's got two devices. Bluetooth device 2 disconnected, which I'm pretty sure is the one that connected. I think when I've got it connected to my computer, it also, it just has a whole hissy fit. I don't even know why I'm talking about it, but because it drives me crazy. As you can tell, I wouldn't talk about it if it weren't bothering me. Where was we going? Just trying to think where I'm summing up. Now I can't remember where I was going now. No, don't know. But anyway, it just stands to reason why the books haven't sold. If that's what is meant for me, let's say that is going to happen, then it would stand to reason that the books never really sold because they were never supposed to be sold the way they are at the moment. It was supposed to be a different way. And the way I see it is, it's not that I've done anything wrong because I think I've done everything the right way. But I recognize something because I get a lot of signs that the students become the teacher. I don't know if it says master, but I know it says teacher. Student becomes a teacher. And I think that's what's happened here. At various stages, you get mentors along your journey or someone just influence you in a positive way or even a negative way and you can learn from it. And then you outgrow the situations and the timeline, So when I look at what I've done, it's like I've created a body of work independently. And I think that's really important because it shows that people can have an opinion of me one way or another, but until they've read my books, you can't really truly know, I think by reading my books, you'll know whether I'm intelligent enough on a specific topic or not. And you get a deeper understanding of me, of course. But there's a lot of books now. It used to be just 2 or 3 books to read, and it's now there's a whole library of books. So that's interesting. But that's what that's done, isn't it? It's without the eyes on me, I've created a body of work. And, there's nothing anyone can do about it. The work exists now. And I had this for a long time. You've been hidden in plain sight. Strange statement to make. And I've had that for ages. It always bothered me because I'm always like, I don't need to hide though. But maybe the point was for me to create this with no one trying to question me on that at the wrong time, because it's like the body of work now exists. Anyone wants to question me on a spirituality, for instance, or spiritual path, read my book and then come at me. If you've got a problem with personal growth, personal development, or my ideas on society, read my last 4 books and tell me what you think and then come back to me before you come and label me this and label me that because I've probably discussed it in the book. Someone might turn around and say, oh, you're sexist. You don't like women. Of course I respect women. I just said my 2 favourite people are my mum and my daughter. I don't like the feminist movement where they just start hating on men. This gender bias. We're talking gender bias. I don't like that. I don't like the cancel culture where someone gets offended so they want to cancel someone's entire identity and life just for their own freaking ego and greed and just for them to just posture themselves as better. Yeah, I don't like that. There's a lot of issues in society I have an issue with because I don't like it. There's always people trying to gain at someone's expense. And what I discussed earlier in this video was I don't like gaining at other people's expense. I refuse to try and sell my books to people who have no interest in them, or it's going to put them at a disadvantage because they can't afford it. I'm not looking to gain at that shit. So I absolutely hate injustice. If anyone knows me, that's the one thing that pisses me off more than anything. injustice to my core. I cannot handle it. I don't like it at all. So when I perceive an injustice, I will freaking react to it. And it might offend a few people because they're on the other side of it. Because they're trying to act like martyrs. They want to play the victim. I see through their victimization. Do you see what I mean? I can see through people so easily. And when I see someone just wants to be a martyr, or they just want to play a character just to fit this narrative, I see straight through them and I don't like it. And I will call them out. And they can sit there and try and call me this and call me that, trying to fit a narrative. It's like, you play your game as much as you want, mate, but you ain't getting off. What it is with me, I don't let people off it's like people on a hook, like on fishing. Once I figured you out, I've got you on a hook. It's like you can sit there and wiggle around all you want. You can sit there and try and play with me as well, thinking you got me. I'm the one that's got you on the line here, mate. So I've seen through you. You can do the illusions. You can keep diving in and out of the water. I think I've done quite a good analogy with this, actually. Further I go, and I'm going, it's pretty good, mate. Keep going. So I'm not going to keep going because I was getting carried away with myself there, thinking this is fun. Because I was literally going to start saying, like wiggling on the putting more strain on the rod, so maybe you let them go. Maybe it'll make the rod snap. Make the line snap. All sorts of shit. Anyway, it's all fun. But again, everyone's going to have an opinion of anyone, but a lot of time it's not right, especially if you don't know them thoroughly. Everyone's got different sides to them, and a lot of the time it's influenced in different ways. It's a bit like my daughter. She's seeing the world in a certain way now. She's starting to open her eyes more, whereas before she didn't have the culture, the awareness, maybe the deeper understanding of even politics, and she's seeing it for herself, not through me. She's heard my opinions on things, but she's seeing it through other things, even the content she's consuming. It's and whatever she's using her own mind, though, what feels right to her, and she's getting more vocal with that in her own way as well. And it's like, that's nice. Yeah. Well, I think at the moment our paths are, I'd say we're similar, but I have no doubt she's going to have a different opinion on some things, either because she's taking something I say out of context, perhaps, or we might just have a fundamental difference at a given moment. But either way, whatever she feels is right for her is what she should follow. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. It should be, no, whatever you believe is up to you. But like I always say to her, I know this is deviating from this. I always say to her, look for the facts. There was something on, it's probably going to digress now, but there was something on the Epstein files recently. I think it was, I don't know if anybody's seen this, there's a video where he's running around the kitchen. He was on the, like this countertop. And apparently there was girls, or it wasn't clear the ages and things he was running. And it wasn't clear whether they were laughing or almost like hysterical crying, when you're that worried. I couldn't tell from the video. And I'm not going to be quick to an assumption. When it's a big topic like that, I'm not going to jump on a bandwagon. So a lot of the narrative is that he was mistreated. No, I'm not saying it. This isn't defending him and everything else he does here, by the way. We all know he's a pervert, he's a pedo, whatever they want. We already know all this shit. What I'm saying with that specific video is I couldn't be absolutely 100% certain whether that video was an example of something bad or something good. Like, or not good really, but, something innocent. I'm not going to I don't jump on bandwagons. I make decisions myself based on information. So I use logic, but I also use evidence. And within that video, I personally couldn't discern it. It's not, I didn't watch it on repeat. I just watched it, glanced at it. I've seen it a couple of times, and it's like, I'm not going to make an assumption. Plus, there's a lot of other content you can learn about him. You don't need that one, really. But that was just an example of, because I said it to her. I said, that's an example of something where, unless you're 100%, unless you're confident, that's up to you. I couldn't be confident one way or another. And it's really important in life that you use evidence as a factor too, though, So don't be quick to judgment when we don't quite know yet. It's like you keep the information at the back of your mind, but don't be quick to judge someone, because it's easy to say, oh, this is what I want to believe. Well, that's not fact, and that's not true. You can't just want to believe something. It's a bit like I can only reveal so much. When I talk about like my past, and I say about what my ex did, and I've said it in the books. And look, I am a transparent person, I think, and that's the thing. Like through time, you'll get to see someone's character. For instance, I don't need people to believe me. I really don't care. One way or another, it makes no difference to me. I know what the truth is. I've shared it. That's the truth. But I'm not going to sit here and say to people, oh, you must believe me. But I think over time, your character will come through. So, for instance, when you hear me talk and you see me repetitively, do you feel that you can trust me? Does it feel like that person's honest, as they've got integrity, they're authentic? Or is there something underlying you think's a bit suspicious? Whatever, it's like whatever you feel. But because of all that, you're going to have more of, you're going to be able to interpret the information in a unique way. So someone that doesn't know your character, for instance, might go in one-sided. They might be all about women's rights and they just want to protect the woman. So straight away you go in there and you've got this mindset that the women's the innocent one. And maybe if you picked it apart, you'd say, oh yeah, I can see why they did that. But that's looking at it from that angle. I know what happened and I know the battle I was up against and it was never fair. But again, people want to believe, but I'm only bringing it back to myself to show that that's going to happen in so many people's lives. There's going to be people who are falsely accused of things, and there's going to be people who are genuinely accused of things. And it's really important we don't quick to judgment on anything, because I think that's the dangerous part, when people are quick to judge someone and then you get people who react in society when they should have shown restraint. You've got to hold it in a little bit and try and figure out the facts, especially determining someone's character. That's a really, really huge part. Because it's like, if you can't trust someone, for instance, or even if you catch them in one lie, like, how can you believe them anyway? I always feel that. If someone lies once, how can you ever believe them? So always be honest, always have integrity. And I think it's always better to face the consequences of doing something wrong, being honest, than it is to have your character questioned at every opportunity because you couldn't fundamentally tell the truth. It's just, you're better off just taking the hit not for life. You're better off taking the hit for something you did wrong. At least you have honor. Integrity is important. Video's gone on way longer than I planned. It's actually got way digressed over the place. All this just to literally put a timestamp of the 9th of February that in my future, potentially, my books may go from being independent to published, and it could be the catalyst for some huge change in my life. The other side to that I think is quite interesting is, let's say there is a publisher watching me, or someone that is connected to publishers and they're aware of me. I do get signs that some people are aware of me. I don't really care. I'm not in a horrible way. I don't believe in celebrity culture. I don't like how people pine over celebrities. It's not to put people down or say I don't respect them or care. I'm not saying any of that. I don't see this. I see it all the time. Even when you just saw, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I saw celebrities entering it. It's like it's irritating. They think they're better than the average person. The average person sitting there, paid a lot of money. They stroll in thinking all eyes should be on them. They have to have this massive entourage. It's so delusional to me. It's like, I don't give a shit. Just sit down. Like, that don't impress me, that shit. And that's not from a place of I'm jealous in any way. I just don't give a shit. It's like, stop acting better than other people. It's freaking pretentious shit, So the idea of celebrity culture, I don't like personally. So if it says a celebrity's watching you, it's like, without being rude, it's like, I don't give a shit in the terms of what that status means. I don't care. I just don't care that anything of rank. I don't believe in ranks. Again, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just like, it bothers me all the time. I hate celebrity culture so much. People need to. So even if I was in that spotlight and in that level, I wouldn't even want people adoring me. How, even if you was looked up in that way, stop looking up at me like that and look at yourself that way. That's what I'm getting. That's what's important. People see the value in themselves. Stop putting all the value in other people. Start investing in you. So a lot of these famous people, they lose sight of their senses. I'd say actors. What I would say is actors personally, they're not responsible because they star in a film. It's the film people have invested in. You get a famous actor, but they don't owe you anything. You haven't paid the actor. You've paid to watch a movie, which is a massive art piece. So you could never say an actor deserves it, because I always think that's stupid. An actor is in a film. They didn't ask for all this press and all this media coverage. That's nonsense. A singer's different. A singer does ask for that stuff. They know what's coming. It is all about them. They are front and center, and it's all about them. And that's where I get a bit fed up with the singers, to be totally honest. Yeah, it drives me crazy. They're the ones where they get the huge ego runs rampant, and it's just like they lose sense of reality. It's like, God's sake, yeah, drives me nuts. And I think people just got to stop looking up at them, because they're the ones paying their wages. So like when they walk around strutting it, like I saw Beyonce and Jay-Z walking in, I just thought, these guys, they're deluded as shit. And they just think they're so much better than everyone else. But they only have it because people have bought their products. And that's buying products directly from them, isn't it? Like a movie's a movie, that's different. An album, going to a concert, you're investing in that person. And that person then to think they're better than you, who's paid them money, it's like, who the hell are they? So people can make people just as much as they can take it away. And you see it anyway. You see it all the time. They get above themselves, they get removed because people don't want to invest in them anymore. Anyway, I don't want to digress too far with this. Let's just leave it there, because I'm going to go on rants one way or another here. And nearly an hour. I didn't mean it that long. But yeah, like I said at the very beginning, hopefully the right people see what I'm talking about, and they can be inspired by the conversation and the things, because it's never about me trying to either get sympathy, a sob story. I'm not trying to get sympathy. I don't want pity. And I'm not asking shit of people. Do you know what I mean? I'm not asking anything of anyone. So the idea that I mean, again, I'm not trying, I don't see the point of trying to defend myself. So I'm just making the point there, like, anyone say you're arrogant, you're all this, it's like, in what way? I don't get it myself. If someone sees that, by all means, but I don't see what I'm trying to be arrogant about. I think, considering what I've worked, how hard I've worked, and the things I've been through, I think I'm actually, I don't know. I was going to say far more humble and modest, but maybe I'm not. I don't really know. I don't know how I'm come across. You can, yeah. I mean, it's a massive demographic of people, and it's really impossible to know for sure each individual. So, all we ever be is ourselves, and then people decide for themselves, really. Yeah, I don't want to waffle. So that's me, really. Hopefully, success is coming. Before I have a breakdown. Oh, I don't know. Won't have a complete breakdown. I do have low moments, though. I do get fed up, and I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably clear on some videos, but yeah, I have some very low. I've noticed I get lower at night. So during the day, I think you're busy or distracted. I think when it's bedtime and it's time to settle down, the loneliness creeps in, and then the frustration. So, for instance, I get beautiful signs about a romance, and I get beautiful signs about career picking up. And I don't want to diminish a romance, because I know with the right person, I'll be truly happy. But like, the argument I have with the universe is that I haven't put anything into the relationship yet, though. I'm not dating, so I haven't actually done anything. So even if it's the relationship that comes first, it's as beautiful as that is. That's not the thing I've been working on, though. I've been working on the books for years. Like, that's where I feel I deserve to be rewarded somehow. It deserves to be successful, because I've put the work into that. It's like nearly 10 years. I don't know how many exact years. 2019. I'm not going to do the maths. What are we at? It's 26. 7 years, is it? 8 years? I don't know. They overlap a little bit, don't they, when you get to 2020? It's a year in itself. But yeah, I just feel like that's where if we're going to talk about what I feel deserves or should happen, it should be that, because I've put the work in. That's not to say I wouldn't want a relationship with the right person. That's not saying that at all. I'm just talking about the fact that, there's certain areas where I've really, really put a lot of effort in here. And I think it should be rewarded, but you don't always get what you want. Sometimes you do. So anyway, yeah, I wouldn't want people to think, for instance, if something could happen, that it came easy or it's not deserved or this and that, because it's like, yeah, people can think what they want. It doesn't bother me that much. It's just, I think it'd be a very naive perspective, because people always think that when somebody else gets something that they're more deserving, for starters. They make it a comparison all the time, which again is stupid. And they always think that you haven't been through what they've been through and you don't deserve it. And it's like, who are you to determine who deserves what? And who are you to say what you've been through is worse? Because unless you're in someone's life 100%, which you can't possibly be, because even family members are not with each other every day, even friends are not with each other, even partners. We all go off and have our own experiences, whether it's at jobs, whether it's even just the things you do daily, going out and you're doing things, or whether you're sitting at home in your own thoughts, whether it's projects you're working on. Either way, there's something you've got going on in your life that is separate to the people around you. And that obviously amplifies the older you get, because the more experiences you've had of that. So no one other than me and my spirit guide source and the angels, only we know what I've been through from birth to the age of 43, Now, I've only 43 for 3 days. I'm pretty proud of that, to be honest. In all honesty, when I was younger, I didn't think I'd make it to 43 for some reason. And I was a bit shocked. I know we're digressing, but I might as well talk because I'm enjoying it. I saw something and it said Elvis Presley died at 42. I was like, what? He didn't die at 42. I've got his live concert, so I've seen him performing on stage, and I thought he's no way he's 42. I know he took drugs and things. So of course, it can make him look run down. It can make him look aged. But I never thought he went at 42, having known a lot of his songs and stuff. I just never thought he was 42. So I Googled it, went on Wikipedia and thing. Literally 42 years old. And I thought, bloody hell, I'm 43. He went at 42. Like, you're a similar age, yeah. And I thought about what is it. This is where it's important. Some people think, this is where some people would think it's a shame they went young. I'm of the mindset person, and I don't want to influence people in this way, because I think it's really important. People have their own opinion and perspective. But for me, I think it's more important to have a life well lived. So I would like, for instance, what Elvis did at 42 years old, the legacy he's left with his music, the way he's touched people's lives, the impact he's on like music culture. Everybody knows his name. He's one of those iconic names, like Muhammad Ali. We remember his name. You know, Martin Luther King. You say Elvis. You don't even have to say Elvis Presley. You just say Elvis. Michael Jackson. You can just say MJ. You can even just say, like Whitney Houston. You can just say Whitney. There's certain people who are just iconic, and I personally think to leave this earth as an icon, like to have done anything. It doesn't matter what age you went. That is tremendous. Like, so I know he had his issues and things, but I just think that if to have an impact on the world in a profound way, I think is monumental. It's rare. So although he went at 42, I would go. Although like the way he lives isn't the way I live, I'd still say he had a life well lived because he'd done something bloody amazing with his life. Like, I've done my books, and I think I've done well with out of the years I've had. I've had my own circumstances, I guess, and it's been exhausting. So, like, I don't know. I don't know what age he had children and things. I'm not sure. So, of course, our experiences are totally different. But until I get my breakthrough, I wouldn't even imagine comparing to Elvis, for God's sake. You know, no. That's iconic. So, the fact that I've got to 43 doesn't, because I've got a year older than him, for instance, or in numbers. I don't know exactly what month he went. I don't feel like I'm winning in any way. And if I was 20 years in and I still haven't achieved anything, I still wouldn't feel I'm winning over his legacy. It's not like it's a competition, but I'm just trying to put in perspective that I personally think it's better to make the most of the time we have and do something meaningful than it is to try to get to 100 years old and say that was a success, because that could be 100 years of just nothing, memoryless, or you didn't even challenge yourself, all these things. It's like, no, I think it's better to make a point. That's why I've never feared going early, like life ending early. The only what concern is, I know how much it would upset my daughter and things. And I'm trying even now, and I've been doing it to empower her. I've always told her, when I'm no longer here, that's not for your life to stop. It's for you to carry on your own legacy. We all have a timeline, and when my timeline comes to an end, it's because it's supposed to come to an end. It wasn't for yours to stop, because if you're still here, you're here to do something with your life. So make it count. That's what I say to her. So it's not, I wouldn't want anyone to mourn me. That's not what, I'm not into that shit. I don't want that. I want people to carry on living their life and make the most of the time they have. In the same way, I've done the best I can to make the most of what I have. And I do it every day. I try my best. Some days maybe perceived waste, but it's important that we regenerate. Can't just work. That's not how our bodies and minds can function like that. Anyway, hopefully that's been helpful to people.